It's at this point comical to me, because if you consider yourselves to be the smarter group of people and the smarter country, you would know that all the countries that you guys are from are a product of colonialism, and none of them existed when my people were taken in the transatlantic slave trade.
There is an interview currently going viral right now. It's an interview by an African American man in London, and he decided to ask two Black British ladies that he saw on the street a particular question. And the question is, what makes London London? And guess what? If you're not new on the channel, you already know how these people used to twist questions like this. And this lady, one of them, decided to just rephrase the question and say, what makes them different from Americans? What makes them different from Black Americans? And she started digging in. A lot of people are tired of hearing the same thing whenever these people want to throw jabs at African Americans. Another thing that people are finding annoying about this interview was the fact that the man who was interviewing them did not even do anything to correct them. Like the way she was just like edging them on, like just entertaining whatever it is that they have to say about these people. I saw so many comments of some people saying they have unfollowed him, because why can't you just pick the fact that they retwisted this question and just started saying the same thing over and over again? That lady seems like she has been waiting her entire life to be able to get to that spotlight, to be one of those people who have thrown jabs at African Americans, and immediately she saw the opportunity and just cited a mic, she went loose. I have put together all of this video, the interview, and as well what Black Americans are saying to this video. So without wasting much time, let's get right into it.
What makes London London?
What makes it different from the US? Yeah, like we kind of like claim our roots a lot more. I mean, I feel like we are more kind of like culturally diverse.
Is it weird when African Americans don't know where they're from?
Yeah, strange.
It's not really our fault though.
I feel like people of ethnic race in the UK, like we tend to bond more with other people.
Yeah. To hear British Africans here get mad at me when I say I'm American. I am African American, but my granddad's been in America, so technically America's all I know.
You're an American citizen.
Do you know what you are? No, ethnically.
I don't know.
I would find that strange. I feel like I wouldn't really have a personality.
What? No, that's a hot take. You wouldn't have a personality because you don't know where you're from.
Like, I take pride in where I'm from. If we just didn't know where we was from and was just walking around saying we're British, like we don't feel like we have a culture.
We tend to bond more over food as well. Just call yourself American, mac and cheese and greens. That's just so like...
Soul food is part of Black American culture because it stems back from the slavery days.
Pride in where I'm from. If we just didn't know where we was from and was just walking around saying we're British, like we don't feel like we have a culture.
The reason why you will walk around the UK and not feel a part of that culture is because they don't want you there. The UK is always going to look at your Black ass as if you're an immigrant. That's why you cling to ethnicity, because you're living in a nation that won't honor your nationality. Because you got Nigerians who are born in Britain and will still say they're Nigerian. Where my Black ass being born in America, baby, I'm American. And my Black ass is the reason that America has culture at all. America is a real melting pot where the African descendants, Mexicans, the Irish, the Native Americans, everybody has a little piece of America because we've contributed to it. The UK will let y'all contribute just to turn around and try to kick your ass out. Ain't that crazy? Because British culture is white and it wants to continue to be white. And that's why y'all don't get an invitation to British culture, because it doesn't want you there. And y'all get mad at us for it.
Black British people are completely uneducated on the Americas.
London.
What makes it different from the US? Yeah, like we kind of like claim our roots a lot more. I mean, I feel like we are more kind of like culturally diverse.
Is it weird when African Americans don't know where they're from?
Yeah, strange.
It's not really our fault though.
If we just didn't know where we was from and was just walking around saying we're British, like we don't feel like we have a culture.
We tend to bond more over food as well. Just call yourself American, mac and cheese and greens. That's just so like...
Soul food is part of Black American culture because it's...
Again. A fucking again. Nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit. Same old fucking shit.
You know, the craziest part about this entire dialogue that continuously occurs online is that Europeans, but more of British people, have this internalized bias that Americans are dumb. But in the same vein, we'll go online and spew some of the most educated, ignorant views of Americans that I've ever heard in my life. To continuously act like African American is not an ethnicity, a group of people, a culture, is kind of playing into the hands of what your colonial masters did to you and to all of us. You're ignorantly adding to the erasure of what has already been erased from us, right? Has already been erased from us in the capturing of us and enslavement in the transatlantic slave trade. You're continuing that by furthering the point of we don't know where we're from, but we do. We're better than you. To get online as a descendant of a Caribbean, which most of the people in the UK are due to the Windrush, and say that African Americans don't know where they're from, but I do, is the greatest form of cognitive dissonance I've ever seen in my life. And it's actually really indicative of just how slow you guys are, because there's no difference in an African American or a Jamaican or a Bayesian or a Trini or a Dominican. The list goes on. And if you can get on this app and say that with your chest, that we don't know where we're from, but you do, I would advise you to look internally and pray to Jesus to find some help there. I'm continuously seeing in these videos of why do they call themselves African American? They're not African. They don't know where they're from. They don't know what country they're from. And it's at this point comical to me, because if you consider yourselves to be the smarter group of people and the smarter country, you would know that all the countries that you guys are from are a product of colonialism, and none of them existed when my people were taken in the transatlantic slave trade. Personally, myself, I am made up of 7 different regions in Africa. So what should I call myself? Because I'm born in America. My family is a product of slavery in America, or from 7 regions that didn't have names that they do today back then. So what should I call myself? I'll wait. The other beef I have is with the guy that runs this podcast or this page that's allowing these Black British people to continuously drag Americans down, all for the sake of content. Like, I get farming content, but at this point, you're not adding to the discourse, you're making it worse, because you're giving validity to what they're saying, because thousands and thousands of people are agreeing with them without adding any educational aspect to the discourse, which you should be doing. So it's a twofer here. I'll say this: Black British people, you don't know anything about America, and it's kind of sad, because in this world that we live in that's globally interconnected, it's very easy to learn little things that you may think you know and change your perspective, but you refuse to. So, I mean, I don't know. At this point, I don't know how we even diffuse this, because it's to the point now where it's like you guys are continuously saying these kind of things about us when we don't think about you.
Foundational Black American.
Yeah.
What is that about? Because I feel like that's pure division, if I'm not gonna.
It is. But I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
Have you followed this story, and I want to ask you about this, with actors who are Black and the whole idea of English Black actors taking American roles?
But you know what I noticed? You said a Black woman in America versus an English woman. Like, being English makes you less Black. To me, that defines how unintelligent the whole argument is. No disrespect to anyone that has that feelings. It is what it is, but the fact is we're all Black. Like,
what I've noticed is Black British people feel entitled to tell African Americans how they should identify, what they should have qualms with, what they should feel a certain way about, and what should bother them. These 2 examples that I just put up are representative of why these conversations exist. Foundational Black Americans have had to have that term, or African descendants of slaves, ADOS, because America is a place where there are 44 million African Americans who are descendants of slaves. But outside of that, there are millions of Black people from around the world that live in America and help shape the fabric of America. They don't have the same history as us. They didn't experience slavery. They didn't experience Jim Crow. They didn't experience redlining. They didn't experience being 3/5 of a human, none of that. You know, and all of a sudden, everybody's Black. When I was growing up, no one was Black besides Black people in America. You were Black, and then you were African, or you were Caribbean, and no one wanted to associate with Blackness. But in this video, he's saying we're all Black. All of a sudden, you know, that's a new phenomenon. This entire conversation is extremely nuanced. There's ignorance on both sides. I will agree to that. That is not something I will ever deny. The difference is, Black British people feel extremely, extremely entitled to speak about our experiences and tell us how we should identify. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I've realized that because they're immigrants in the United Kingdom, they view the United States as the United Kingdom. They view the United States as a white imperialistic country, which it is, but they think that we are like them and that our parents came here from somewhere else and that we're immigrants and we're not American. No, we are American. We have been here for 4 centuries and we helped build this country. We are the culture of this country. There is no America without Black Americans. African American is interchangeable with Black American. The reason we are African American today is because of a campaign by Jesse Jackson in the 80s. The term African American has been used since the 1800s, but we went from Negroes to coloreds to niggers to Black people to now African American.
You don't get to tell us how we identify in our own country. You don't. And all Black people do not subscribe to being called African American. And that is our choice. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean you get to tell us that we should not be called African American. And like I said, since you guys are so smart and you know so much and we're so dumb, you could use your brain, right? Put your thinking cap on and say, maybe they're African American because they were taken from all parts of Africa. Here's a map, just so you guys can understand the difference. So when you look and you see the map of the transatlantic slave trade and wrap your head around why we exist in America, why a Jamaican exists in Jamaica, why a Brazilian exists in Brazil, hopefully that helps you understand we are not the same. You are Black British, you are an immigrant in the UK. You are from your own country and you moved there. We are from here, just like a Brazilian is from Brazil and a Jamaican is from Jamaica. I hope that helps. And yes, while we're all Black, just remember this, while we're all Black, we all have different Black experiences, we all have different Black histories, and we all have different Black cultures. We're not the same. We don't need to be the same. Overarchingly, yes, we are same in our Blackness, but that doesn't make us unified. Hope that helps.
Where I'm from, if we just didn't know where we was from and was just walking around saying we're British, like, we don't feel like we have a culture. We tend to bond more over food as well.
I just want to say this. Ethnically, I'm Haitian American, 100% Haitian, okay? But I hate when I have, especially, it's always Africans. There's nobody else that does this repetitive, regurgitated conversation every 3 to 6 months, always, right? You guys say that Americans don't know where they're from. Obviously, if you've had 400 years of where your people have lived, generations after generations after generations, you are American. No one knows where they're technically, ethnically from due to the fact that the separation and the slave trade completely destroyed the language, the hairstyles, the ethnic practices. All of those things were destroyed by slavery. That's what it did. Comparison to you guys who immigrated to Britain, who are immigrants within the Britain place, right? Black Americans are Americans because they've lived there for multiple generations. I hope you understand. I hope that gets through your thick head. Because when you guys make this separation, because I wouldn't have a personality, I wouldn't this and this and that, all you do is further the white supremacy viewpoints of a white man and make us further divide each other from each other because of your stupidity. To be frankly honest about it, read a book, watch a documentary, do something else besides from looking like a buffoon in front of everybody. You're destroying your family name in front of everyone. Like, share, and comment. And you know what's the worst part of it all? You're just stealing everything from us and putting that boot accent on top of it that don't make it look any cuter than it already was.
Don't know where they're from.
Yeah, right.
It's not really our fault though.
Look, FBAs, we gotta stop supporting this false narrative that we don't know where we come from. That is straight up bullshit. We know exactly where we came from. We have been in this country, in the United States, since before it was the United States in 1776. We've been here since before that. So this whole narrative of, Black Americans don't know where they come from, that doesn't even make sense. How many generations do you got to be in a country before it is actually where you're from? Like, all of that other stuff, like, we're a mixture of a wide, long range of West African cultures plus other stuff. So how can you even sit up here and say that we're supposed to be from a specific place? That's stupid.
I feel like people of ethnic race in the UK, like, we tend to bond more with other people.
Yeah. See, British Africans here get mad at me when I say I'm American. I am African American, but my granddad's been in America, so technically, America's all I know.
You're an American citizen.
Do you know what you...
Technically, he's an American citizen. Okay, yeah, he's an American citizen, but he's an American he's a natural born American. He's a literal American. Like, y'all don't come at white people with this bullshit. You only come at us because we have brown skin.
Well, no, ethnically.
I don't know.
I would find that strange. I feel like I wouldn't really have a personality.
What? No, that's all.
You wouldn't have a personality just because you're from, okay, let me gather my thoughts. You wouldn't have a personality because you're from the United States or because you're from Britain or whatever. Like, first of all, this is two totally different things. Being from Britain and being a Black British person is totally different from being a Black American in FBA. It's a line. That's totally different things. Y'all are immigrants in Britain. We are not immigrants in the United States. That is the difference. Anybody don't know, oh, well, you're an American citizen, like we're an immigrant. But I'm not no immigrant. We're not immigrants. This is our country. We built the country into what it is now.
A hot take. You wouldn't have a personality because you don't know where you're from.
Like, I take pride in where I'm from. If we just didn't know where we was from and was just walking around saying we're British, like, we don't feel like we have a culture.
If we didn't know where we were from, we didn't feel like we have an identity and a culture. This shit is really annoying. Like, and the reason why I'm irritated by this is just because I know that they're speaking out of just pure ignorance. I don't even think that they're trying to be offensive, but this is literally the ignorance that probably the vast majority of Black Brits actually think about Americans. Like, they really think that we're just like this lost nation of immigrants that has no clue where we came from. Like, no, we are from here. We're American. We are American, guys. Just because we're brown does not mean that we're not American. There is no other country. It doesn't exist. There's all of that shit is gone. It's done. All of that West Africa, it's done. It's a done deal. That shit is lost, gone. It is not relevant at all.
To bond more over food as well. Just call yourself American, mac and cheese and greens. That's just so like...
Soul food is part of Black American culture because it stems back from the slavery days.
And then for her to sit up here and talk about like soul food, like mac and cheese and greens, like that is our culture. That's our cultural dish. Like, you wouldn't be saying that about any other dishes from around the world. The only reason why they talk so much shit about us Black Americans, about us FBAs, Solons, the only reason why they talk like this about us is because we are naturalized Americans on this soil. And this is not a country that is ran by people that look like us. Okay, that's really the real of what it is. That's the reason why they don't be clocking the Caribbeans and the Jamaicans and all of them. That's the reason why they don't clock them like the way that they be trying to clock us, is because we're not ran by people who look like us. We don't have a country full of people who all look the same. We don't come from a country where everybody looks the same. This is a melting pot. And it's really weird that she said in the beginning of the video, and she's like, you know, we're more culturally diverse over here. It's like, this is literally the melting pot of the world. But anyway, aside from all of that, I feel like there's a lack of respect for FBAs, you know, Black Americans, because of the fact that we are not actually the owner. Like, we don't actually run shit here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are still technically living under our oppressor, you know, in a lot of ways. So that's probably really what it is, but that doesn't make us any less American. And I think that that's the part that they're having a hard time, like, wrapping their head around.
It has been the same copy and paste response from this Black British people to African Americans for the longest that I can remember. Like, they say the same thing. I think at this point, even if they want to speak about these people, maybe they should look for another phrase or just another thing to just come at them with, because at this point, even the people who are not African Americans are tired of them saying these things to African Americans and totally dismissing their history. Because if they fully understand their history, I don't think they'll be saying some of the things like this. In my opinion, I think this lady is literally coming out African Americans is on their wish list or is on a checklist or whatever. Like, they really want to come for them. And I think by now they should have checked that off of their list, because it seems like something they've been wanting to do. And the moment they cited a mic, they went in. Do British just ignore slavery and how it has literally molded and created valid culture in African Americans? African Americans is the ethnic identity. How can they be so dismissive? Any single time they are coming for African Americans, it's almost like they haven't learned anything or even read anything about history. And I think at this point, I don't think they should even be responding to them again. Another person said the question was, what makes London London? Then she immediately started speaking about the USA. At this point, that is like, are you guys obsessed or what? Another person said, honestly, I need the moderator to start educating the people after they ask these questions. I know it is not your job, but please, I can't stand it anymore. There are so many comments like this. There are like so many of the same comments. Like, if you know you're an African American as well, why are you not educating them? Like, are you just doing this for the content to make the money? Why can't you just educate them in the process? Yeah, you can give them the mic to say whatever it is they want to say, but you can as well educate them, not edge them on. Another person said they never have this smokes for Caribbeans, and as a Caribbean, I am tired. I really need you all to start clapping back or pick an entirely different conversation because the argument is going in circles. It has been the same thing, copy, paste. There's nothing new. Like I said, like this person is saying she is Caribbean and she's tired, like really, really tired. I know other people are tired as well because there's nothing new on the block anymore. It's just the same response over and over again. Another person said, I unfollow his ass even though he is a Black American. I feel like he panders to them for engagement and let them openly talk negative about Black Americans for view and likes, which I said so many comments are like this. And it seems true because the way he was responding to them, it was like he was giving them more rooms to, continue the whatever it is they have to say about African Americans, knowing fully well that it's wrong and not trying to make the slightest move to correct them or make some things known to them. Another person said, we have been here long before most white people, but no one ever questioned where white people are from. Another person said they do not understand the concept of ethnogenesis. They refuse to accept that we have a new culture, and that has nothing to do with them. I think what those Black British said shows that they and other non-Black American or American groups don't believe the American culture, and more specifically, Black American culture is a real culture. They don't see it as a culture at all, and it's a confirmation because every single time they pop up on this interview for 3 minutes, this is the same thing that they say over and over again. Let me hear what you guys think about that interview, and let me hear what you think about the interviewer not correcting them. Do you think people are overreacting by unfollowing him, by calling him out? Do you think people are overreacting? Do you think he's not in his place to actually educate them? Like, I really want to hear what you guys think about that because I saw so many comments of people saying that they are going to follow him for urging them on. So let me hear what you think. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. I will see you guys in the next one.